is Toastmaster. Toastmasters and distinguished guest. There's a commercial that's on TV right now, if any of you have been watching TV recently, and it's by State Farm. And it has a young man who basically goes through all these, I would never, and he actually starts off with saying, I'm never gonna get married. Well, he gets married. I'm never having kids. I'm not gonna go through every single detail, but at the very end, it's very cute because he's with his 2 daughters and his wife, and he's like, I'm never letting go. My wife and I actually laugh about that because she kind of says that she brought me into being a father kicking and screaming, which isn't really the truth, but there's a little bit of truth to it. She's a couple years older than me, and after we'd been married a couple years, she was like, okay, my clock is ticking. We need to start doing this. So we did it, and it has definitely changed me in a lot of different ways, and that's what my speech is about. I'm a father to 2 sons. I have one son, Nelson, and I'll hand this around. My elder son, Nelson, is finishing his freshman year at Georgia Tech. In fact, I'm going to be heading up there on Thursday. I'm excited to have my son back home. And I also have another younger son who turns 17 the end of this month also. Nelson's the older one, Max is the younger one. And as I said, my wife kind of said, well, I kind of brought you into this kicking and screaming. And I was kind of reflecting on being a father and all the different changes and ways that I've changed, either for the better or maybe even for the worse. The first one is that it made me feel more compassionate toward other people, especially kids. When you look at kids that are either orphaned or abused or anything like that, I think once I had a son, or sons I should say, I really felt kind of a sense of, wow, kind of anger almost in that, why does this kind of thing happen? And why are there kids that are either fatherless or are abused or picked on? So it definitely made me more compassionate. It also made me quit cursing, mostly. I like Bill Cosby, who unfortunately has gone through some pretty crazy stuff recently, but back in the 80s, he had a really funny movie called Himself. And if you haven't seen it, it's really funny. It's a concert, and he actually gets up there, and he has a lot that he talks about with fatherhood. And one thing he says is, if you're a father, you've got to censor yourself, because a lot of times you'll be like, what the, you're just about to say something, and then you kind of stop yourself, you kind of sound stupid, and then you finally say, get out of my face, just try to think of something that just gets on them. And it was funny because right when my wife got pregnant, unfortunately before then, my wife and I kind of had some uncensored mouths, and we actually stopped. We actually told ourselves that we were going to go ahead and stop doing that. And then later on, when we came to faith, or actually I should say I renewed my faith, there was a different reason for it. But I will definitely say that it's helped, but there's always moments when you're kind of like, what the, all sorts of those kind of things. It also made me realize that I can share a deep love for another individual other than my wife. I never thought I would love another human being as much as especially when I saw my first son and my second son, I guess I should say. When I first saw him, and both of these moments are on video, mind you, and we have them on DVD, and we watch them every once in a while. And I become an instant waterfall when both of my sons are born, and just couldn't believe the amount of joy and the overwhelming, protectiveness. And so that's another thing that it taught me, was that I could share a deep love for someone other than my wife. The other thing is it kind of made me become a kid again. My wife says she has 3 boys, my 2 sons and then me. And I really am a big kid. It actually taught me to kind of reinvigorate some of the passions that I had from when I was a kid. I like to play video games. Of course, now I got 2 boys, so we've had Xboxes. I like to work on music, and actually both of them have taken music lessons for a long time. We used to all play music together and kind of jam around and have fun. And they actually share my passion for movies and books, science fiction, things like that, playing games, we play golf together, all sorts of other things. So it's actually allowed me to kind of be a big kid again, which has been great. It's also robbed me of my memory. And you're probably scratching your head and being like, what do you mean? Well, there's another little Bill Cosby thing in that himself where he talks about, he says, I love it when mothers get so mad that they can't remember your name. Come here, Roy Rutabaga. What's your name, boy? And don't lie to me because you live here, and I'll find it out. And I remember when I was growing up, and my mother, the first time that she called me by my brother's name, I have one other brother. He's 3 years older than me. The first time she started calling me Jeff, and I got so mad. I was like, "Are you kidding me? I'm not Jeff, I'm Roger." Well, once I became a father and my mom witnessed that, she's like, there you go, see? And I was like, okay, so I guess my memory is going. It also turned me into my father.
Oh.
I know, a lot of us are probably saying, oh my gosh, I don't want to necessarily turn to my father. I love my father, but he can have his moments. We all can have our moments. But I know there's been a few times where my wife has called me by my dad's name. She's like, okay, Fred. Like if I get a little angry about something, something that he would do. It also made me realize how human I was, and my faults and just all of my shortcomings. And I've had to ask for forgiveness on numerous occasions where I've gotten mad at them or overreacted, and I've had to go to them and say I'm sorry, or also had to like share some of the things that I've learned through my life. It also gave me a dad bod. So. I used to be a real slim, I think I was about 185, maybe 200 pounds. Used to be in the military, so that kept me in shape. And unfortunately, it's given me the dad bod. It's given me a few moments of frustration here or there, but a lot of moments of pure joy. Especially hearing my elder son recently describing me to one of his friends as being a Renaissance man. Because and I asked him, I said, what do you mean? He said, well, Dad, you do a lot of stuff. I mean, you do voiceovers, you DJ, you work on music, you're writing, you know a lot about science fiction and all these other things and music. And I just think you're a Renaissance man. That just really made me feel, oh, very good. It also brought me back to the God that I knew as a youth. Once, about 16 years ago, my wife became a Christian, and I had become a Christian a long time ago, but I actually kind of lapsed, and it actually brought me back, probably as a result of being a father. So overall, being a dad has definitely changed me, but I would say it's definitely changed me for the better. Thank you.